see people knocked over their chew tobacco on the carpet there. And
Whose fucking dad did that?
No, but we got to come up with a way better story than that.
all right, so somebody had anal leakage is actually what happened.
Now
How
we're
about
getting
that? Is
closer.
that better? There was a moment of violence that happened in here.
It could be.
Sure.
It was an AMOV.
Hey, everybody. I'm Kevin McLaughlin, and this is the Riffs and...
Rhythms Podcast. I'm Paul Robertson. Well, welcome back.
Good to see you, Paul. What's up?
Not a whole lot. I just got back from the Keys, and I don't want to be here.
Oh, no wonder you're grouchy. You're still
well,
hungover.
Exactly. They call that, they say when you don't leave, they call that the Keys disease.
Wait, when you don't leave?
Well, you don't want to go home, right? That's so you stay. You stay longer.
If you get the Keys disease, then don't get near me.
It sounds like a,
Don't touch me.
it sounds like a commercial to say, hi, do you suffer from not wanting to go back to civilization? Do you suffer from want to constantly drink all day? You must have the Keys disease.
Okay, well,
Yes, anyway. So, yeah, it was
that's
a
what
good
we're going
trip.
to go with.
Yeah, but yeah, it was all in preparation for the Key West Rum Festival.
Yeah, that's coming up.
August 14th through the 18th. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a real great time, checking that out, drinking some rum, hanging out with some cool people, and maybe I won't come back this time. So my wife might be a little upset about that, though.
Are you sure?
Who knows?
She could use a break, I'm positive.
I'm sure, right? Yeah. Since you did call me out, a couple episodes ago about watching bordello vampire orgy movies and saying that I've been married too long, so.
I did call you out on that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. So
Yeah,
thanks.
what were we talking about?
Appreciate it.
Arizona, and the only thing that comes to his mind is From Dusk Till Dawn.
So what have you been up to?
Well, let's see.
Wow. Okay. Whole lot, right?
Yes, got so much going on, I can barely even stand it. No, it's I'm getting some traction in France, of all places, with my album
Oui, oui.
every day. And yeah, I sent off a shipment to this store, a CD store called Compact Dixie. If you find yourself in France, you got to go. And a radio station that they're affiliated with called me up, and they're like, "Can we play your song on the radio?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Cool. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
so that's
Which song? Which one's starting a trend now? Is it Sticky Man?
the two singles still,
Okay.
and Minky Stinky is coming up in the
Right.
a heavy third.
Okay. Very cool. So I know with us being on the podcast channel with the Drums and Rums channel, there's others that get to listen to it that pick up from the other show when we have Riffs and Rhythms. So there's a couple international people that listen to the podcast too. So, which is a great way to kind of get.
May or may not have anything to do with me. You never know.
You never know, right?
You never know. We're so cool.
So when are you going on tour in Europe?
Well, it was not something that I was really going to talk about, but the goal is to get it done in May. And we just took steps today to initiate the process of making that happen.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cat's out of the bag.
You got a passport?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I qualify for a passport. Thank you very much.
Cool. Well, cool. That's awesome. So
Well, the goal is to tour the UK. And we have a UK management company that's going to help make that happen. For
Really?
us. Yeah.
okay.
Excuse me.
What's that?
I feel like I want to hear the sound effects.
Yeah,
that's
there's
you-
sound
yeah,
effects.
it's-
These guys. We have
putting
guests in the house.
I
We should
know.
go
I
ahead
know.
and-
Let's just go. Yeah,
We
let's
should
just cut-
acknowledge them,
let's just
actually.
cut to the chase, and let's introduce our guest here. So give you the honor, Mr. McLaughlin.
Absolutely. Some good friends of mine from not so way back, but pretty far way back. We have from AMOV, the hottest metal band out there at the moment, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah.
We've got Russ and Desi. How about a big round of applause for Russ and Desi? How you doing, y'all?
Good.
Doing
good.
well, man. Appreciate you guys having us on.
Yeah. So we were after we watched the video we reviewed with Jason Montero, a couple weeks ago, was saying, wow, so these guys are really right here in the backyard. This is a great band. So I think so we did defer that it was definitely the riff. So even I gave in.
It was the riff that
it was the riff that didn't make the song.
So when we review a song, we review it from the standpoint of, is it the riff that makes it cool, or is it the rhythm?
Okay.
right.
And with your song, we decided it was the riff.
Sweet.
And you being the guitar player,
Yeah.
Guitar player, bro.
that's cool. Which, by the way, I spoke to Rizzo the other day,
Oh yeah.
so it was good to see him. He told me a few things he's got going on. That was cool.
Yeah.
So AMOV, acronym
Yes,
or the word?
Acronym.
Acronym.
Yes. Well, I prefer the acronym. I don't think Des cares either way.
It stands for a moment of violence, right? So, and me and Russ have had kind of several conversations surrounding it. And just to be more marketable and not have a situation where we get judged like, a book before the cover or whatnot, a book by its cover, rather. A lot of people that don't know us or never heard our music or whatnot will see the name Moment of Violence online and then ultimately maybe just get turned off by it because they don't even know, what we're all about. But AMOV, well, people, maybe it derives a little bit further investigation into something like that. So, I hear his point for sure. So I'm like, let's try it and see how it goes. And I think that it substantially has increased since we made that change as far as like the engagement, the following, and everything like that as well.
So will you tell us what you really are all about so we can dispel any myths that might be out there?
Well, a moment of violence really typically starts with me in the studio, and a lot of the songs that we have out there right now are maybe some past riffs and stuff like that I've written, past songs I've written over the course of many years, probably 15 years as well. So, but I wanted to always take it to a public place and kind of make a band out of it, like with technology today and the way that it is, you can clearly just do it by yourself and make something sound really cool. But, then you're lacking with the live performance experience and all that stuff as well. So I was fortunate enough to meet a couple guys and really just put it together overall and kind of bring my ideas to life. Once we found Russ, we found a bunch of members before. We actually had Russ for a little bit, and then, he was busy with his other stuff, and then we finally, something in his schedule kind of opened up, and we got him back or whatnot. But, it's like when we sit down in the studio, like I said, although it may start with me as far as like coming up with the riff and putting some like MIDI drums behind it and stuff like that, by the time, and I'm sure you would agree with this too, by the time the song's done, it's almost completely different arrangement and everything like that altogether because, me, him, and Alex primarily will come into the studio and we'll all bring our ideas to the table and, hey, maybe do this here instead of that there, and, lyrically, I think that we're killing it between the three of us, kind of melting our minds together overall.
It's a collaborative effort
Yes.
and
Yeah,
so forth. So,
for
but
sure.
before we continue, though, where's your manager? You introduced the band, but you didn't introduce them individually. So the viewers and the listeners don't know who they're looking at.
Okay, well, we have Russ
He did
and
say his
Desi,
good
as I
friends Russ
mentioned.
and Des.
Okay, so
Did he? I see. I'm not even paying attention. See how I am way the fuck out of it today.
He needs a drink.
I need
not
lots
even
of drinks.
drinking.
I need
maybe you should start.
This ain't cutting it, man.
Yeah, that Modelo is
Yeah,
not
no.
happening for you. You need to get some.
Yeah,
you know
beer
what the
here.
problem is?
We're no
The
Stolock.
problem is we're out of
No, it's
Stolock whiskey, and that makes me feel incomplete. I got to tell
Yes.
I can't look at Modelo without thinking about oh.
So Russ, the singer, and Desi, the guitar player, and like the founder, really, of the band, right?
Yeah.
Because when we met, you hadn't put the personnel together.
No. When I first met you, I was still doing my solo stuff, kind of doing a lot of writing for like film and TV and stuff like that as well. So, it was shortly after that, though, I would imagine, I ended up meeting Scotty originally, who was on the same softball team as me, and then him and I decided to, put together a band. I found it kind of weird because I found out like 6 months later that he was a drummer and enjoyed the same type of music that I do as well. So, we put together a band and we scouted for members. We got Brent, the other guitar player in the band. Scotty obviously, is no longer with us, in the band overall. But, we through trial and error, we had a bunch of different people, come in and try out and stuff like that. But I feel like the lineup we have now is really legit. And, I'm grateful to have Russ and, everybody else that we have in the band. But really, as far as like collaborating between the two of us and then with Alex as well, we're coming up with some really cool shit. So.
So you guys are hard rock metal. Where's the? I know he labels, but I mean
It's weird, man. It's like they're calling it new metalcore.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what the label has. I wouldn't even pin it on, And by the way, shout out to Pepper Gomez, who takes care of us with Wake Up Music Rocks, which is a division of Wake Up Music. They're awesome, and she's done a lot for us. So shout outs to Pepper. But yeah, new metalcore is what we've been told we are.
New metal. I gotta say, I get people, say, "Oh, dude, I wrote a song. You want to hear it? Here it go," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, whatever." And
You get that a lot. I'm sure.
I'm really jaded. Like I've met a few people. I've done a few things.
Old musician.
I'm old, but I turned on
real old.
your music and I was impressed. I mean, it's world class. The playing, the writing, the recording technique, the singing. There's no reason why that couldn't be compared to anything that anybody's ever listened to.
I'll tell you, recording wise, I don't even think we've reached.
Me neither.
Like if it's an iceberg, I'm not even going to say the tip of the iceberg. I feel like we're just getting out to where most of it's underwater and we're breaking the surface of what our writing can be and the potential and our ability to make the recording quality even better. Because I mean, we're doing most all of it. It's done in his home studio.
Yeah.
And we get together and he gives us the song, and then we. This is the base of what I have. Sometimes he has like an idea for a melody, and other times he'll just have a small piece. But like he said, it's a collaborative effort, and we do our best to kind of piece it together. And I feel like each song has its own individual story of how it comes to fruition, and it's all different.
Yeah, like he was saying, just kind of piggyback off of that. A lot of the times, like the song will start off, like I said before, it'll start off in one position or whatnot. So it's like we got an idea for a cool riff for the verse, and then maybe we add the chorus or whatever. And I'll send him like what's an almost done musical composition with like just rough, no mixing, no editing, none of that stuff. And I'll send it over to him. And you have to see the transformation on these songs, man. Because by the time we're done, it almost sounds like a totally different tune. But it's just like it's really cool because you can incorporate everybody else's ideas into the mix, and it's like, holy shit, this really sounds fucking cool at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So we're definitely very happy with the.
There's definitely been no song that we've done thus far with the line with like the basis of you and I and Alex. That's our other vocalist. He does the hardcore stuff on it. Shout out to Alex too. None of them have the same process. Like some people have a process, right? When you write, this is what I do and this is how it comes out. For us, it's just something different.
Yeah, something a little different. And we try to keep the ideas fresh, you know what I mean? As far as like the lyrical content, a lot of the times these guys will goof on me and say, you're using the same words over and over again, bro. You got to like kind of.
I'm guilty of it too. We all do it.
Yeah, So like my words that they goof on me about is catastrophe, right? For the longest time it was like there's a an evil catastrophe creeping outside your door, some shit like that. You know what I mean? So and they said,
well played. I like this guy already.
So, but what rhymes with catastrophe though?
I mean,
atrophy.
Pull out your fucking dictionary, bro. You know what I'm saying?
That doesn't rhyme.
Yeah, that doesn't rhyme with catastrophe
that doesn't rhyme.
at all.
I mean, there's a lot of different shit that we do, and overall, it's cool that it's a collaborative thing, and that everyone can throw their ideas into the pot.
So where does
except for Rizzo? Fuck Rizzo.
Well,
you're fired.
He didn't got. Hey,
Rizzo's doing really well, by the way.
He's not even official yet.
well, sorry.
Better get right, buddy.
It's night for cats out of the bag, apparently.
Ruh-roh.
Fired.
So what's your? So what are some of the influences you guys are pulling from?
Musically, I mean, I'm a big Pantera guy back in the day.
K-pop.
You look like a K-pop guy. I was going to ask you about that. Who's your favorite singer?
What are they called
The
again?
guy with the dark hair, right?
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
South
the
Korea
guy with the really thick, dark, lush hair.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, the whole band of them. What's the ones that They're an acronym too. The 3 letters.
We get called Kill Switch Engage.
How could you not know? Oh yeah. One of the best compliments we ever got. We were
Sorry, bro.
I don't know. I'm not going to breathe life into that story. All I'll say is we were called Great Value Kill Switch, and we were called Shit Switch Engage, and a dad band trying to be like Kill Switch.
Well, you did meet on a softball field, so that is kind of dad rock.
True.
Nah, you didn't meet me there.
But ultimately, we ran into a situation where we kind of went overtime on a gig, and
Don't even breathe it.
but it turned into where somebody called us a dad band, and whose fucking dad did that? And
Yeah, that's become our mantra, though. He kind of hit me up. He saw some, because we thought it was squashed after the show, because we thought it, best to leave with no bad blood. You know me, I don't like to burn bridges. I like to be respectful within the music community, because, it takes a lot of guts for anybody to do what they do. So,
and you're gonna run across anybody, at some point in the future, anyway. So,
but Des was like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" I said, "Fuck him, it's a compliment."
Yeah, no such thing as bad publicity.
You're being talked about regardless.
Well, that became a hashtag that we started using because
Shit switch?
when someone said, "Oh, this happened," and someone wrote, "Whose fucking dad did that?" And then they wrote a whole band of them. So we put hashtag "Whose fucking dad did that?"
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's going on a T-shirt. You can believe that.
There you go.
100%.
Well, the studio here actually started out was many years. So I think I've had this space for well before COVID, and exactly was what it started out was like 4 other guys. We all hung out, and it was the dad band.
Yeah, for sure.
And we just got together and hang out and jam and drank, and you see people knocked over their chew tobacco on the carpet there, and so it's a lovely man cave.
Was Joey Pantera in here?
Yeah, right? No, but we got to come up with a way better story than that. That's not the story we're going to go with.
All right, so somebody had anal leakage is actually what happened.
Now
How
we're
about
getting
that?
closer.
Is that better? Is that better?
Yeah.
Better for you. I didn't. I know we have some guests in the room here too, so I want to try to be somewhat respectful.
All right, well, we're going to have to come up with a better official story for that stain on the floor. I'm telling you that right
Well,
now.
don't you have an anal leakage stain in your living room?
Yep, absolutely.
Maybe there was a moment of violence that happened in here.
It could be.
Sure.
It was an AMOV.
It was an
There you
AMOV.
go,
That's
there we
an
go.
AMOV,
That's
Mark.
it. That's the new acronym when we're going to say, I'm about ready to have an AMOV here, right?
Well,
So
when
you
I-
got to calm down and breathe.
When I looked at that when I came in, I'm like, "Whose fucking dad did that?"
Somebody's.
There was somebody, one of the 4 other guys that was in the
You're
room
gonna
here,
find
so-
yourself saying that later.
Yeah. That's pretty great. So it would have been, the story, maybe the continue the embellishment is like, the band met in aisle 6 at Home Depot on a Sunday,
For sure. The cool thing about it, though, is like if you think about the music business, 20 years ago, it's like you had to be like a 20-year-old kid, super slim, handsome looking, and all this other shit. Your whole band had to be,
I'm handsome.
like picture. Well, I mean,
Speak for your fucking self,
yeah,
bro.
well, you know what I'm saying. But that kind of went away now. With
Yeah,
the way
look
that
at
the
whatever.
world
Wait,
is now.
talking about, didn't we just talk about self-esteem problems earlier?
I know.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to necessarily be 20 years old. That's what I'm saying.
Hey.
It's a good thing because nobody around here is
You may
anywhere
think you're
close to that.
Yeah, hey, opinions, but
Yeah.
it is funny you said the Home Depot thing. I could picture it now, a bunch of dudes meeting wearing cargo shorts and their grass-stained shoes. What's the model of the shoe? The
It's New Balance.
sex offender
Yes.
sex offender sevens.
New white New Balance.
Yeah, white New Balance.
It's-
Everybody's looking for more weed eater string.
Yeah.
Those are actually like the Cadillac of actually shoes. It would have come from a PDF. Man, I am.
No
really
way,
sound
you
like-
gotta
I
have-
am really sound like a dad now.
You gotta have
right?
white Nike Monarchs, wide size.
So,
The Nike Monarch.
or walking around with your they call them Salerno slippers, your white boots.
Salerno slippers.
Yeah.
Those are the white fishing boots that you wear.
Yeah, well, I mean,
What are your take on the Hey Dudes?
lazy, lazy.
No, you're not too lazy because you're wearing socks with them. That's a lot of setup for a pair of Hey Dudes.
Well, I mean, I also could have set you up and dropped a deuce in your bathroom. Right
Yeah,
there.
well-
it'd have been the same disrespect, you know.
Well, now we know you're packing. Thanks for telling us all about
You
that.
got to be real careful sitting in that toilet because Billy T did find actually a lizard in the toilet. So
Nice.
Yeah,
He probably took it home and ate it.
It took us a few minutes to figure out what he's talking about. He's like, he comes out of the bathroom. He's like, "Oh, there's a lizard in the toilet." I'm like, "What did it fall off? What happened?" It was a real live lizard, and he just went ahead and used the bathroom anyway.
He didn't know it until he flushed and he saw it was like a freaking.
Did he squeal?
I don't know.
He got a little excited, but
yeah,
it was still
yeah,
fairly manly.
Yeah.
He kept his respect.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and luckily we had somebody else there here to fish it out for us. Wasn't Billy or Chris.
No, it was our sponsor.
That's right, one of ours.
That's why he's the sponsor, because he fishes the lizards.
That's
out of
right.
the
Yeah,
water.
he does. He goes the extra mile. So, all right. So, Pantera, Kill Switch Engage. What a couple others?
I mean, I grew up and learned how to play guitar based on Dave Mustaine and Megadeth. You know, so those are really the influences. I would say Megadeth is responsible for me turning into a songwriter overall. I always just loved the way that guy played guitar, and the way he put one riff together with the next and everything like that, and kind of just took you down a road until the end of the song or whatnot. So, yeah, I mean that was my big inspiration for sure. 100%.
all right, Desi. So, Four Horsemen or Mechanics?
Four Horsemen's a good song. I like that one probably better overall. What about you, man? I know that his influence is definitely different than
Yeah,
mine.
my musical influences were just I even think it's part of how, like, I don't even know who I sound like as a vocalist now, because it's such
Rob
a
Halford.
hodgepodge. It's growing up when I was really young, every day Casey Kasem Top 40 Countdown, whenever that was on, I'd have it up on. Seriously, my parents gave me an old 8-track player. Do you remember the noise those made, like the old receivers when you clicked them on? That it's that sound. I'd love to sample that into a song somehow.
Sure.
But nobody would know what the hell it is nowadays, except for like Kevin.
Yeah, I would know what that sounds like.
But listening to that, a lot of the top 40 stuff, and just it's weird. I just it's crazy to think that I also do an 80s band now, because I did not listen to that as a kid. But I was also brainwashed that it was the devil's music. So,
Well, I mean, you're a Jacoby Shaddix fan and stuff like that as well.
Oh yeah, but as it evolved, I mean, when I was young, I really liked a lot of like northeastern hip hop, and I really got into the whole grunge movement of that came through in the '90s, kind of changed music. I mean, that's a whole podcast in itself. Nirvana not even being out. I think Pearl Jam's album was out a full year prior. And Smells Like Teen Spirit's video booted the door down, and it was the death knell
For a hair metal.
Yeah. Yeah, the ozone layer is really thankful for Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, right.
Grunge is Kevin's favorite music period.
No, it's actually not. But I've got friends who lived in L.A. at the time, and the story was like, because I asked them, like, what happened to freaking hair metal, dude? And they're like, I don't know, but it seems like one day everybody's walking around in spandex, and then the next day everybody's walking around in flannel.
Yeah. I mean,
Literally put an end to hair metal.
like if I say it anytime I debate it with people, I mean, that song changed everything.
No, Aquanet stock went through the floor.
It was not a time to buy low.
That's right.
Just sell.
So growing up in those influences, and I think the '80s thrash metal kind of that genre that was '80s, and then jump fast forward to the '90s, and there's that. So, oh yeah, that riff right there.
Perfect.
So, he's on.
That was a Dave Mustaine riff, wasn't it?
Dino is on it tonight. Yeah. So remember, just one attaboy wipes out, or one shit wipes out all those attaboys. So, but going through that time period is. As you mentioned, new metal or new metal core. It's always like what exactly certain things fall in today. It's just so.
It's kind of weird. Like the new metalcore, to be honest with you, I haven't really heard it until I've heard somebody say that our sound is like new metalcore. So I feel that that's kind of new. But the new metal, obviously, you got your Korn, Papa Roach, and those bands all from the early 2000s and stuff like that. I think it's just really an evolution. One thing I will say is that, back to the new metalcore thing is like, a lot of the bands that come out nowadays, and no disrespect to anybody, but a lot of them do sound very similar, and a lot of it's, a run-of-the-mill type of sound overall. I think that's one thing that we got going for us is that it's a little bit unique, and it's kind of something different. So I think that's, registering as fresh in some of these people.
Can I ask you something though, Des? Do you think that some of that comes from a lot of these bands as they evolve and they get some label attention? Some of their labels are very hands-on, and the songwriters, the producers are pushing them in that direction. And that's why you get
Sure.
a lot of similar sound out of them, whereas we have a little more freedom
I agree
to
with
do, I guess, what comes out is what we are. And again, I'll preface this to the camera, and no disrespect to anybody out there. Write music, kick ass. If everyone loves it, awesome. If no one does, who fucking cares? Just do what comes from the heart.
There you go.
Yeah, that reminds me of a topic, and it's been talked about a lot lately, is the influence of labels on the style of music. Last night I was watching a video of Frank Zappa from the 80s, where he's talking about the fact that these record label executives think they know what they're talking about, and the only thing they know is what sold last week, so we have to do it just like that.
that. Yeah, for sure.
It definitely has a lot to do with the change in the music industry and the stylistic changes,
Mm-hmm.
where you've got a bunch of executives that are looking at their bottom line going, yeah, the guy with the blue pants on last week, he sold 1 million records, so everybody's got to wear blue pants.
Yeah, for sure. It's just they're
That's
all
a pretty good
salespeople.
analogy.
Yeah.
They're salespeople, dude. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
At the end of the day, what's the hottest salesperson doing right now? Oh shit, we're gonna do the same thing. You know what I mean? That's the whole mindset. It's kind of shitty, unfortunately, but you're right, man. That's the way it goes nowadays.
It's not a new thing.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
But
right. So if you look at the 50s and everybody imitated that style, and the 60s everybody imitated the Beatles, and then
until
so
there's that one group that takes you out of that whole trend and puts you into something different.
That's a really good
And then-
point.
So there's the question, like what
Nirvana.
sparks that? And in my opinion, it's something you just said, Desi, is when, like, country music is like that now. When suddenly a style has become a caricature of itself.
Right.
And everybody looks the same, everybody sounds the same, every
And
song.
everybody tries to fucking follow it. And
That's
exactly
when
that.
there's going to be some sort of rebellion against it,
Right.
and
K-pop-
something new is
K-pop.
going to show up. Like we just talked about hair metal. I mean, in 1992, who could tell the difference between all the bands are great, but who could tell the difference between them all?
Yeah.
And then Kurt Cobain came out, which was the exact opposite of that.
You need a torchbearer. Someone's got to fly the flag and
go
Take
the
the
other
risk.
have the.
You know?
They got to have that magnetism, that bravado to run with it. And to be honest, I mean, I think part of the allure and the mystique and the legacy of Nirvana, sadly, is how do you become a legend? Most of the time, you die.
That's so growing up, and I think we're probably roughly close to the same age in high school. And Nirvana came out, I was in the same boat. I was that hair metal side of the thing. And when Nirvana came out, saw Alice in Chains open up for the Thrash of the Titans tour,
Yeah.
which Madison Square Garden, everybody booed Alice in Chains because they didn't know who they were. Of course, now they kick themselves. Thinking back, say, I didn't see the original Alice in Chains, and
Yeah. no doubt.
so of course you got a grunge band with these thrash metal bands, and then fast forward, and then Nirvana hits in the fall of '91, and it was boom. And I was never a big Nirvana fan when they came out. Like I tell people, I'm not even a big Smashing Pumpkins because just their style of voice.
I wasn't either.
It's
But
crazy how it hits for everybody.
I'll tell you straight up, though, I dressed like him when I was a fucking kid.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that, because everybody did.
Yeah.
That's what-
I came around a little bit later into Nirvana, got more into Nirvana later on,
Mhm.
into some of that stuff. But initially, I wasn't a big Nirvana. I was into Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and things like that, but not Nirvana for some
Well,
reason.
the way I saw it is like the heavy rock of the time, however you want to define it, was getting pretty sophisticated. You had guys like tons of guitar players that were doing really sophisticated, difficult playing, and Nirvana kind of brought it back towards punk a little bit.
Yeah.
From my perspective.
Oh, I
They-
agree.
they were just
100%.
bashing away instead of doing all this technical stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's what sucked me into it.
Yeah.
Popped, if that's a word, right?
It's raw.
They-
It's raw.
They made
Yeah.
they made that punk rock like a pop type of thing where it was just like, all right, this is the end thing now, and it like to your credit, like what you said, Kurt Cobain was an amazing guitar player, in my opinion, from what I hear on his recordings and stuff like that. But he was just a trendsetter, and he wrote some cool ass fucking songs, and fucking they clicked with the fucking seventh graders, and that was it, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
And it just took off from there.
I just think that's just history, whether you're talking music or anything, it's the right person at the right time,
Yeah.
and you need the right like climate in where we are in society at the moment for something to just, someone just lights a match and it just catches fire.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it, bro.
So the other side of that coin that we're talking about is we live in the future. So you don't have to have a record company
Bless you.
to exist as a musician anymore. I mean,
Right.
certainly it helps, but the bar of entry it's open to everyone.
Sure. The barrier of entry is definitely easy. And that's what makes any business like a good one to get into or not, right? So it's how difficult is it to get involved. And nowadays, like you said, with the way technology is, like anybody who owns a Apple laptop is a music producer now.
Yeah.
So
Or a DJ.
Right.
yeah, so it's
See my laptop live.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
so I mean, it's a good point. I mean, for musicians as a whole, yeah, it's great because now you can literally sign up for like DistroKid and write your own music and submit it through there, and you get on all these other distribution spots and everything like that. Whereas you don't necessarily need a record label for that kind of stuff anymore. You definitely did back in the day, where you don't need it now, right? But
Yeah.
So, but it oversaturated the shit out of the market because again, everybody's a musician and a music producer nowadays too as well.
So and reason why I asked about the genre or where it fit, right, is that does the area here have that support for the style of music you guys perform?
Well, I can tell you, I played music in Central to South Florida for a long time. All types of things, whether original, cover. Through my experience, the original scene isn't what it used to be. There are bands, and there's some really good ones out there. I'll tip the cap to, and I mean, there's even ones I've never heard of. Then I see them, and I'm like, wow, you're doing good. But I don't feel like there's even when there was them before, it was, how it was, man. Kevin, you've run sound at original shows that I've done when I was younger, and you'd like to say there was a supportive web, but everybody goes outside with their friends until it's their turn to play. But there were more bands then that were, because I think maybe it looked like there was. And now that I'm saying this, my thoughts evolving, but it's because you had to get out and play to be seen. Now, to go back to what we were just saying, you don't really have to get out to be seen because you can just sit at home and you can write it and you can just put it online and you can find your niche through that and you can find your fans.
Well,
But it's just, I don't think there's a scene, to answer your question. Not a big one.
Yeah, because I know there's some shows that are in Fort Pierce. Was it Bughazi or there's I don't know, I got the wrong place, but I know there's a couple times I see some venues up in the Fort Pierce, St. Lucie area that has a little bit more punk or a little bit more harder. Because you guys are the first, that's what, like I said, again, trying to ask the question. You guys are right now, you guys are the hardest, the heaviest guest we've had on the shows to date.
And we're not even close to the hardest.
We're not even.
Are you talking
we're
about?
not even close.
Are you talking about these
to, like,
guys,
some
or are
of
you
the
talking
other
about their music?
Yes.
I think he saw me in the bathroom changing my pants.
That's right. Only fans.
No, I mean, with that said, like honestly, I agree with what you're saying. So, like, if we're asking if there's a scene locally, there is, and believe it or not, we're probably one of the lighter bands out of the other bands that are.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Like you asked, there are places. There's venues all throughout the Treasure Coast that will do shows. You have East Ocean Pub, which was a refuge forever, and you can pepper venue. Terra Firmata will support original music. You can go on up the coast, all the way up to Vero. You got the Stamp, which does a lot of punk shows, things of that nature. But
It's really just building your name, dude, because honestly, like when we first started and before we had the following that we have now and everything like that, which believe me, it's still a humble following. It's not like massive or anything by any stretch. But when we first started, nobody would give us a chance to play in their club or anything like that. Now we added people like that have a name. Russ has got a pretty good name with playing around the clubs. He knows a lot of the owners and stuff like that. So it's kind of an easier foot in the door overall. But once your name starts to get established, then it's just easier and easier. It's like, oh, these guys are charting, these guys are doing this, these guys are doing that. All right, let's give them a shot. And then when they do see us play, excuse me, they love it, man.
Right.
You know, so
Somebody get
locally,
that- get Desi a shot.
It's a hard thing to kind of get yourself up there as far as the support you would get, but I mean, worldwide, I mean, it's fucking super marketable.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good. What is that shit?
Kevin didn't get you one because you're a backing
I
musician.
got a whole bottle of vodka in my fucking truck.
Oh, there you go. We should have brought it in.
oh,
We got
Well,
plenty
yeah,
of
we
stuff in
got
there.
booze. Yeah,
It's
we got
'cause he's
stuff.
greedy.
We'll bust it out there. So
You know, can at some point I'd like to mention, because I know you're going to edit this up anyways, but I'd like to mention, unless you got a full straight through version, we are speaking of getting new opportunities. We've already opened for a smaller act that was touring, but we're going to get the chance to open for Nico McBrain. Iron Maiden is not doing any Florida dates this year. If anyone didn't know that, I'm sorry to break the news to you. But my drummer Jim from Metal Luscious, he has another band called Made of Metal. Very, very kick-ass band in South Florida. If you haven't seen him, see him. But Nico will plug himself into place at Jim on drums, if you guys are familiar, and he does something called Titanium Tart. And usually he only plays like here and there with them, and and he'll do his restaurant anniversary in South Florida. But he's going to do 3 dates throughout Florida prior to the Maiden World Tour. And we are lucky enough to be able to be the only opening act for the one at Piper's down in Pompano Beach. Shout out to Greg Watts.
all right.
Nice. When is that show?
July 19th.
Oh,
July 19th.
Coming up quick, man.
Maybe if
that's
am I booked on that? Hopefully I'm not booked. I'll come down and see it.
You
Hell
better
yeah.
get a ticket because that thing is going to sell out.
Oh, I bet you. I
so,
bet you.
okay. So yeah, Piper's is a really good place.
Yeah, like I said, it's got all the good things you want in like just a grimy rock bar, but it has an excellent stage sound and lighting,
Yeah.
great engineer in Jeff, and good staff there too.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's awesome. So I need to then probably ask favors because I think I've talked to Jim before about trying to get back in December of last year when they do the toy run at the Rock and Ribs, right? He's trying to get Nico on the other podcast, the Drums and Rums podcast. So been trying to kind of
Well, if
For
we
once
can
in
get
time.
Jim to
Yeah.
come on this podcast, maybe
Yeah.
we can make something happen.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
press him into it while he's here.
Yeah, get him
On
drunk.
camera.
Get him
Uh,
drunk.
We
His
can-
arm.
gonna make magic happen.
Listen, it doesn't take much to get Jim drunk. Sorry, buddy.
That's what she said.
Yeah, Russ knows exactly how much it takes.
Dude, literally, I think 3 cider beers,
Oh, that's it.
and
Oh, wow.
and he's shit-faced.
Okay.
Oh my.
Well, what we want to hear is a tales from the road, some type of story. That I know you guys have got stories that it's either from a gig, a concert you've been to, or something kind of music, kind of crazy related here, like falling off the stage, or
Never happened.
I
Kevin, shut up. You've never seen it.
have never seen that.
Not the Mojo Room. I don't know what you're
No,
talking about.
what's that? I've never heard of that.
Stories do we have like that on the
There you go.
I'll try to give you something interesting. So one time we were, we'll bring up Nico again. We were doing an event with him. It was in one of the big parks down in, I think, in Davie. It's got like the place where I think you can they got like a wave thing. Does anyone know what that park is? And you can surf or like it looks like you're water skiing on it.
Okahili?
Yeah, it might have been that. Okahili Park. And we're there and we're just, we're going to go on and play. Nico's doing a big charity event in the park and all this. And I'm in the back putting on my outfit. Some woman's coming up. Hey, I need a picture with you in the band forehand. And I'm thinking, okay, always nice people because, I just appreciate people. But sometimes you're like, all right, let's go. We got to get up there on the stage. So, are you going to play, what is it? Living on a Prayer. Yeah. All right. Well, and she starts telling me a story. And apparently she's Gina from the song. And Tommy was her husband.
Oh, no kidding.
She was their tour manager for a while because their drummer, the one that lived down south for Bon Jovi, I forget his name. He was there that day.
Tico.
Tico. Yes, Tico was there. And she told me the story about how that song was basically about her and her husband. And
It's pretty cool.
I'm like, Jim, get over here and listen to this, dude. And I was like, whoa. So I don't know, just basically, the fictional story of one of the biggest rock songs of that era
Yeah.
was just the whole. I got the backstory to it, and for me, that was a cool moment for the road.
That's crazy.
That's a great story.
Oh yeah. It's awesome.
Little to know that they ended up in Palm Beach County, right?
Yeah, right. Okahili Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, like nobody from
I'm
New Jersey
Gina.
moves to Palm Beach County.
I worked the diner all day.
Was she halfway there?
I'm not sure, but she brought home her pay for love.
Okay. And we can keep this rolling.
We could. There's a lot of the song left.
Oh yeah.
So, do you guys have any shows that are coming up?
Well, Russ just told you about the July 19th at Piper's, so that's going to be a good one that we're looking
Tell them
forward
about
to.
the other one.
So,
All the kids are going to hate this one.
yeah, more than likely.
You guys
but,
are playing Chuck E. Cheese?
No.
That's awesome.
We said they're going to hate it.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I love it. We got an opportunity to also open up for Trapped. So,
Okay. All right.
and we're going to be playing that show.
They're
up
like
in-
the new Nickelback whipping boy of the hardcore scene, though.
Yeah.
Are they?
If you're not familiar,
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, their singer Chris is very
Vocal.
open and vocal with his political and personal opinions on social media, and he will argue with them, in the DMs.
Yeah.
That's the legend that we're told.
So they're the new band that everyone loves to hate.
Yeah, they get.
I think ultimately people had noticed like how irritated he can get very easily, and they just try to fuck with him.
Yeah,
He seems pretty headstrong though.
yeah, he'll
that's
take
right.
you on.
yeah.
Take on anyone.
On me?
Well, he knows that you are wrong.
And this is not where you belong.
So yeah, so the trap show. When is that?
That one is what is it? August 23rd, I believe, is the
Okay.
date of that one. It's
uh,
up in Satellite Beach at a place called Winfield. So
Yeah,
Good spot.
James Cripps is the with Blind Anxiety Entertainment brought us in on that one.
yeah,
Thank you, James.
yeah. Appreciate you, James.
That's cool.
Yeah, tons of shout outs you guys got.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Ask for one, you can't give it out, but you're shouting people out every 10 seconds.
here's the thing. I mean,
Forgot to mention that we're playing Madison Square Garden shortly after that one.
yeah, yeah. When we go home to sleep tonight, I just told my other half, who's sitting off camera here, we were, what were we? We were watching WWE, and I was like, that's the Mecca. Oh, what does that mean? And I had to explain that. How does Islam tie into sports and entertainment? I don't know. You know, nothing wrong with that. Religion, I don't want to even get into. But you know, I said that, man, that's a freaking bucket list place to play.
No
Could
question.
you imagine any of us
Everybody's
Holy
bucket
shit.
list place.
Oh yeah.
play MSG?
The Garden.
All right, I'm done.
That is-
Or Red Rock. I could play
Oh,
Red
Red
Rock.
Rock,
I'd be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, fuck you guys, I quit. I'm out. Get another singer. As long as I got a little money by then.
I'm like, no problem. Just finish this fucking recording real fast, bro.
There's got to be a younger version of me out there. So,
So very
That's
cool.
what she said.
yeah. Boom.
We've got another segment we haven't done yet.
So Russ, you got a shout out here. We've got our weekly
Sorry. Jim.
House of Wine, Beer, and Spirits MVP of the week. Do you have an MVP shout out that you've got? You want to recognize in the music community or just in anybody in general?
MVP shout out. I don't want to do anyone. I would shout you out, Des, because thanks for bringing me into this. But let's get. We talked about so many people already.
Right.
Mentioned names that I would shout people out for. So I'm going to bring up somebody else who's kind of local to this music community. But I remember coming up. Yeah, I'll preface it with this little story. But when I was coming up young, and I didn't know that I was going to sing in bands, and I would sing in the back of the car, riding with friends. Oh, you got a good voice. And I'm like, oh, cool. You know, I still feel the same way. How you sound vocally is subjective to the listener. Some people you're going to suck. Some people you're going to be great. I'm just grateful that I have evolved to where I get to play with great musicians. I'm lucky for that. So mini shout out to all of them. But as far as like a heavier shout out, like I want to, so let me get my train of thought back. So I, would go out, play, went to an open jam. It was Rock Candy doing it. Trevor, Terry Spain, and the English guy on drums. You know who I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Adrian.
Adrian, yes.
Hello,
I think of
Adrian.
his name. How's it going, Adrian? Anyway.
But so that evolved into everybody wanted me to sing for their band all of a sudden, but it was hard to do like 103.1 The Buzz music, and which I coincidentally ended up singing for that radio station's cover band for Mark Summers. But when I would go out, a lot of the older musicians would turn their nose up at me. And there was one in particular, when I would go out, who run over to me. I remember he was playing where 2nd Street Bistro is. There was a bar there. What was it? I don't even remember, but they played music in
It
it.
had a lot of names. Governor's Grill.
It might have been that. But I go in there, and Michael Spaz McGordy runs over to me. Hey, you're awesome, kid. Keep doing what you're doing. I don't care what anybody around here says. You've got something, and I love you. And he, after that, had me singing Jesus Christ Superstar with him. There were a lot of, but all throughout anything that I ever did, Spaz was always like, he was A1 day one in my corner and had my back. And
back, yeah.
I don't know why he did. But, I mean, if that's who I want to give my MVP shout out to for coming to me when I was young, and maybe I had confidence, but at the same time, you know, I mean, the right nudge in either direction could have changed anything. And he pushed me in a direction to keep going, and I'm grateful for that. Thank you, Spaz.
Wow,
That's awesome.
that's pretty cool. That's good. Yeah, that's a perfect shout out.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm glad you gave me a minute to think on it because
Yeah.
it popped into my head.
Now
I
it's
don't
good.
know if mine's going to be that good later.
So,
It's what you said to her.
yeah. Let me think about it.
Oh,
Well, anyway, speaking of that, so I know we're running out of time here. So, can you guys come back next week and we'll talk a little bit more and do some song reviews?
Sounds like a plan, man.
yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Okay. So we gotta wrap this up. We
We're
gotta
gonna wrap it up.
Close this
What
up.
do we got to do? We got
gratuitous.
we got some gratuitous plugging to do.
That's
We've
right,
got
yes.
the Day Out of Time festival coming up.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That's on the 26th and 27th of July.
Day out of time.
The Day Out of Time
Day Out of Time.
festival.
Not a day out of time.
Day Out of Time festival.
.com.
It features the Brothers After All, Crazy Fingers, Lefty Hathaway Band, and the Kevin McLaughlin Band.
Who's that?
Yeah, some guy, I don't know.
Some dude.
And yeah, it's gonna be great. The T-shirt guy just sent us the merch.
I saw that
It's
today.
really cool. Really cool. You're gonna be able to tie dye your own shirt right there during the. You got to buy it ahead of time, but then you tie dye it right there during the show. It's super cool.
Nice.
Activities.
Activities.
Yeah.
And it's a night of cats out of the bag, so we might as well. KMB Star Promotions, which is headed up by my executive producer, Tracy Bruce, is starting a Rising Star series at the Heard Opera House
Nice.
in Arcadia, which you guys are going to want to be a part of. It's
Cool.
going to be hopefully a monthly thing where original musicians who have recordings out from Florida can go and perform and get featured.
Cool.
It's going to be really cool. The first show is October 11th.
Nice. We'll have to talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Next week.
Yeah, we can talk about it next week when you guys come back.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I'm going through the list of stuff we're supposed to do. There's supposed to be some hilarious bits. Say something funny.
Nope. Nope.
All right? And we're gonna plug all our social media stuff. Do we have any social media?
Yeah, we got social media. We got something out there.
By the way, Paul does a great job of doing all of the short social media hilarious
Wow,
bits there.
is he giving me love? So how do you do that? Hard? I don't know. I never.
No, don't even
never-
touch me with
yeah.
that stuff.
Ooh la
But
However that works.
he does do a good job. Even though he's a drummer, he manages to squeak out some really good video edits.
He's the guy who hangs out musicians.
He is. Yeah. Drummers are so necessary. They were the first the first AI machine to replace a musician was a drum machine.
The guitarists with all their jokes, you know.
Yeah.
All we need is a bass player in here. We can tell some bass player jokes.
Oh, we don't need one to.
Oh,
My favorite bass player joke. Everybody knows.
you know what's the definition of a bass player?
Okay, what?
100% replaceable.
Oh!
What's the alternate definition of bass player? Failed guitarist.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, my favorite bass player joke is what's the difference between a large pizza and a bass player? A large pizza can feed a family.
Oh, wow.
Boom, 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 boom. Whoa! You
So-
gotta get that one in there.
He's got it somewhere probably. Yeah, so we got all our socials, so don't forget to go ahead and you listen to on any of your Apple Podcast platforms. Rate us 5-star on the Drums and Rums channel there. Leave us a review. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe. We drop our episodes every Tuesday, so we had our episodes here. Drops on the Tuesday. We had a few people in the chats on the episodes we're watching. So it's kind of cool that we have people hanging out in the chats while we premiere the videos and so forth.
Yeah, that's always
Go
good.
in and comment and so forth. Again, that's how we all grow together. Local music supporting each other, local podcasts supporting each other, and so forth. Oh, I forgot to give a gratuitous plug to Brad Brock there. So make sure you check out Jams and Cocktails
Necessary,
also.
absolutely.
So check out.
The biggest plug of all we've got to talk about.
Oh, that is right.
We almost
We
forgot
saved the best for last.
about the Riffs and Rhythms Festival. On November 23rd, is it? In which the bands that we have featured on the show are invited to perform.
Sweet.
Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, that's right.
Pink Floyd.
Yeah, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd have all been guests while you were sleeping.
Tripping.
Just got to make sure it's not that Madison Square Garden date, though.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of busy.
Yeah.
Well, so now, again, so we definitely will talk after the show is, so that make sure see if you guys schedules line up with that because we'd love to have you guys on and be part of that show. So it's all original music, all the festivals and all the guests that we've had on the show or have been song reviewed as well too. Reviewed
Exactly.
a Tampa metal band there, Red Calling, which would probably fit great. We have certain slots that are type different artists. So.
Yeah, it's going to be a great festival. It's going to be in Hobe Sound.
Yep.
And as soon as there's something to show for that, we'll be showing it.
Sweet.
So put it on the calendar.
Yes.
More to come.
Write it down. Save the date, November 23rd
Right.
in
Hey,
Hobe
Siri.
Sound, Florida.
Hey Siri, save the date. No.
Yes.
So, all right. So let's wrap this show up here. So thanks again. It's another great episode here, and let's bring it home there.
So, hey, again, I'm Kevin McLaughlin, and
I'm Paul.
this is the Riffs and
Rhythms Podcast.
thank you so much, AMOV. We'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Cheers. Look forward to it.